painting for the North Carolina Symphony. Nice to hear from them again. Several things several years ago. So anyway, nice to have return clients. And by the way, that's a clear vote for their paintings legible. Now, it's possible that these people might have remembered me, but it didn't hurt that they have one of my paintings, they told me, have one of my paintings hanging in their office. Then I know absolutely for sure, oops, these two are out of place. I know absolutely for sure that they have my signature. I'm the painting. So there you go. That old lecture that I've given so many times, I won't do it again. Well, hello, good to have you here. Let me see, I didn't arrange to get my face in any of these cameras, did I? There we go, this is me. Again. Artwork. I also do music, and I am in the business of writing and releasing 3 books. So there you go. Just none of them right now is to you. If you don't know me, then you're wondering, what in the heck is he doing? I'm delighted to tell you. I start, I don't know, my painting and even how I this little thing is supposed to stay up here, but the threads are rather stripped. So I'm not sure it's going to work. Let's try it. See if we can get it to work. All right, let me show you. There we go. That's the photograph. That's not the photograph they sent me. They sent me several photographs. I took this one and tweaked it considerably, mostly in. So that is acting as my rough sketch. Not supposed to be part of the presentation here. Now to add with an abstract underpainting. Because I can. No, that is not. It is kind of hard to answer that question. How long have I done this? I have done some variation of this for at least 15 years. Closer. Exactly how I do it has varied over the years, but it's been probably 8 or 10 years, I would guess, that I've done this kind of thing. Purely. Okay, I'm just going to try to answer the question why, which is a little bit difficult to answer. I want to set up a relationship. There's a truth to that, so bear with me. I want to set up tension, that's a better word. I want to set up tension between my painting and picture. And I often, for fun and just to be ornery, and just because I'm a real teacher, and often a real teacher will make up words or expressions to make them easy to remember. So I am, from the very first stroke, as you just saw, I am establishing tension. That line's in the wrong place. Let me correct that. There we go. Between the painting and the picture. Again, for those of you who just joined me, I'll have your chats up in just a minute. Let's see if I can go. Yeah, there we go. Monitor. I can watch you. And for some reason, the monitor's not coming up. Let's see if we can figure out. I had this problem one time earlier. There we go. Does that work? All right. Hello, Uncle 60. Choppy sound. Ooh, 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 ooh. Let me put my monitors back on my ear. Thank you. No. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. At the moment, that sounds good to me. Give me some more feedback. Sorry if I'm letting people know your secret name, Uncle 60. Okay, so a painting is line, shape, color, design, value, texture, and a history of human movements. That's what makes a painting. A picture, let me know, you guys, in my monitor. So it might be nothing I can do. It might be in the internet, even though I'm paying for top fast. As fast as I can get. Internet. That is distressing to hear, though, that it's choppy. All right, a painting is a painting, and a painting consists of line, shape, color, design, value, texture, and history of human movement. All of those in opposition or contrast, or it's actually a picture. A pitcher is something you put milk in and sit on the breakfast table. But I'm just being a little bit ornery. So I start with an abstract to trick myself. This is a painting. That would be one way to put it. Not the only way by any means, but that'd be one way to put it. I start with an abstract because later stages of the painting process, hang on a second, I've got to think for a second here. Rendering or drawing the subject matter, in this case, a symphony orchestra on a stage in an auditorium. That's the picture. And I'll spend quite a bit, especially rendering the subject matter. But I want to prefer to have a lot of non-realistic things happening underneath. A boring painting is one that has only picture in it. Picture, if you will. Intermediate artists, that's the hardest lesson for us to learn, is that this is a painting, not a picture. Rendering this is easy. Creating magic, now that's hard. That's hard. So I do an abstract to get a jump start on creating magic and helping me get bogged in representation stuff. Still cutting out. This grieves me immensely. Hang on, there is one device in the house I can turn off. I forgot to do that. I've got music streaming. And you guys aren't hearing this background music. I have two background musics going on basically. Okay, so. All right, let's see if it's any better. Even though I did a speed test before I started and everything was hunky-dory. Anyway, let's not talk about that anymore for the moment. Let's talk about painting. There's a harp, a row of French horns. Let me show you the picture again for just a minute. I'll do it this way this time. All right. One of the concepts that is very, very present in my art mind these days is that a person is a good painter. Now let me change that. A person is a good artist. Let's see if we go. Now I'm getting feedback that is very strange. All right. A person is a good artist, or the best artist in the room, so to speak, if I can use that language. And I'm by no means talking about myself here. I've become keenly aware of my own deficiencies in this regard. The best artist in the room is the one with the best imagination. The one who can look at the scene in front of them. So here I'm talking only about, obviously, representational painters or artists. And I'm only referencing, and I'm eliminating, as I usually do when I talk about art, I'm eliminating hyper-realist, photorealist, super-realist, realist, realist, realist. Okay, that's a different world altogether. It's a noble ambition and practice, as I usually say at this point, and for fun, occasionally I do hyper-realism just for fun. But I don't believe it's the highest or best form of art, so I don't do it terribly often. All right, back to painting. I'm feeling like this is actually quite a challenging subject matter. It's not an easy subject matter. And because there's a lot of tiny little detail. The big shapes are not that interesting. So I'm really going to have to work on how to make it interesting. Imagination. The artist with the best. And I mean this in a very strict sense. Like, oh yeah, well, why don't you paint a dragon playing a French horn in the third row? No. I'm not talking about silly runaway creativity. I am, as you can see, I'm quite limited. This is a commissioned painting for the North Carolina Symphony. So no, I cannot put a hippopotamus playing a cello and call that creativity or imagination. No. By imagination, I mean the artist in the room who sees the best everything. It's art, line, shape, color, design, value, texture. Who sees the best abstract elements in the picture, or does the best things to the picture. I can imagine there will be a lot of room for, okay, artist Ross, I thank you. I hope that the problems are behind us. It would be nice. There will be a lot of room, I think, in this piece. Here's the conductor. He's a rather important. It took me a while to figure out where his anatomy was going. And of course, everything I'm drawing at this point will be redrawn and redrawn and redrawn several times. So I'm not trying to get it perfect. A little bit of explanation there, even that. So a lot of what I do, in fact, most, I guess it would be fair to say, most of what I do as an artist in a painting is set up a situation where interesting things will happen. Sort of, you might say, automatically. Where line, shape, color, interesting line, interesting shape, interesting color, interesting values, interesting texture happen almost by accident because I set up, because of the process that I use. I used to define this as a dance. Let me see, I'm going to say heads there, cello is there. Ooh, this guy's a viola. Let me point you to the photograph again and talk about imagination, what I'm thinking about. One of the little elements in the photograph that I think is important are the white pages of the music. There's a rhythm here. Equally spaced items. There's a rhythm also, of course, with the rows of musicians. Bom, bom, bom. And I guess I'm going to do it the way the photograph is because I think it's a good composition. I feel bad for cutting out the third violins and the third cellos and a bunch of the first and second basses, but that's the way it is. But those are important. Those little elements are important. The red bass drum is probably the most striking, and the harp are the most striking, and the timpani. Those, as far as the instruments go, drum, harp. The double bass guys standing up and their heads poking into this dark area, that's important. Same thing with the timpani player, his light head poking into this dark area is important, etc. One more thing, punctiliar light. The light of the wooden stage platform poking through the players. Here especially, some good examples of that. Punctiliar light is frightfully important in any painting. You may have heard me say in years past that a landscape painting is simply a thinly veiled excuse for creating punctiliar light. Let me say that again. Every landscape painting is actually just a thinly veiled excuse for creating points of light. And I usually don't say points of light, I say punctiliar lighting. Why? Because if I say points of light, your mind may automatically go to items that create points of light, like candles, stars, fireflies, sparkles on the water. Those are indeed, that is punctiliar lighting. But as you just saw me reference the photograph up there a minute ago, punctiliar lighting is also the light wood stage poking around the bodies, torsos, and legs and instruments of the musicians. In a landscape, punctiliar light is everywhere, assuming it's a daytime landscape, not a muted, foggy, misty, whatever. So often the landscape is. The sky holes are the most traditional thought of as if you've tried to do a landscape with trees in it, then of course you've wrestled with sky holes. And by the way, if anybody ever gave the impression that sky holes were easy, they just gave you the wrong impression, that's all. I'm not going to go very late tonight. For one thing, it's been a long, hard day already. I mean, not a bad day, but just busy, busy day. I have 3 or 4 projects going on all at the same time. But this one, they're in a hurry for, and I'm being paid for it, so it gets priority over some of the other projects. I have several projects that I'm being paid for at the moment, so that's nice. It's nice to have work as an artist. It's really nice to have work, paying work. I'm doing now my first white layer, and it's always a favorite of mine. What I'm doing right now is the punctiliar light, literally thinking about the points of light, the light wooden platform, stage floor that appears. In fact, that gave me a good nudge. That's the bass drum. That gave me a good nudge. I am not, even though you saw me draw the conductor and a few other heads and torsos, I am not going to, and you'll see this tomorrow if you have the opportunity to come back and join me, I am not going to accomplish this painting by drawing each of the musicians one at a time. The word boring and predictable come to mind. Well, looky there. The artist had to draw a symphony, so he drew the first violin, first chair first, second chair first, third chair first, first chair second, second chair second, viola, 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 cello, cello. I'm being kind of silly just to make the point. No, that would. I'm going to render the orchestra en masse, all at once. Dark layers, light, very much the way I do trees in my landscape. I'm going to treat them as if they are a tree. Dark shapes and light shapes. And then in the very final stages of the painting process, then and only then I will do first chair first, second chair first. All that stuff. Only then. I'm glad that just came to me with clarity, like, oh yeah, that's right, oh yeah, that's how I'm going to do this. And I'm very thankful for any clarity that comes along at any point. There are a number of little elements in the scene, like this railing at the top, very top of the there's a wall behind them. It's the top of the wall in front of the, where if there was a choir singing with the symphony, they would be sitting up here. Clearly there was not a choir in this particular concert. I'm going to do, I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to mix up some very pale flesh tone, orange brown. By the way, you can see in the picture, this has been my acrylic palette for, again, 20 years. These are inexpensive acrylic paints. Let me show you what I mean by that. This one, the brand happens to be, this time, Lucas. Inexpensive paints, and that's fine with me because I'm going to, inexpensive paints generally are low on pigment. And it's fine with me in this case because, in fact, I'm going to make all of them much lower in pigment. All right, back to the painting. So I have a light brown, and I'm just going to say, okay, there's a row of people there, and a row of people there. So I add medium. Let me show you, since I'm in my studio, I can actually show you. Here's one of my, Golden, anything by Golden in acrylics is very good. My favorite Golden medium is GAC 100. That's not what this is, but pretty much any medium will do. And so they're thin, so that these are all transparent, except for the white, of course. There's, quote unquote, no such thing as transparent white. Think about it. Otherwise known as air. I'm going to add some yellow to this mixture. Oh, I'm sorry, you can't see me. I'm mixing just off to the side of my container here. So I want to get on my brushes very pale tan brown beige color. And now I'm looking at with almost, well, I'll take my glasses off, then I don't have to squint at all. Almost through squinted eyes, I'm looking at shapes of the floor, the major shapes of the floor. A harp, since it's roughly that color. This pillar column in the corner. All right, let me rinse out those brushes. Now I'm going to do, I think, just straight ultramarine blue. And I'm going to look at the major dark shapes. So this would be the bodies of the musicians in their black suits. So I'm not looking too specifically. I'm more just trying to get an impression of where the mass of dark blobs are. The dark blobs, of course, like I said, are made up by the magicians and their bodies. So I now see that the majority of my painting process for this particular painting is going to be going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth between dark and light, dark and light, dark and light. The details getting ever so slightly more accurate with each rendering, with each pass.
is, that's the way I render trees whenever I'm doing a landscape. Dark light, dark light, dark light, dark light, dark light, dark, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Each layer slightly more realistic than the one before. Another way to describe my crazy approach to painting. I didn't set out to be crazy, it just ended up that way. Another way to describe that is every layer of my painting process, every layer by itself is quite abstract. And yet the cumulative effect is quite realistic. I was tickled when I realized that several years ago. That was a good way to describe my painting process. Every layer is quite abstract, but the cumulative effect, I wish I had some big bristles in my head right now, but I'll just go real fast. But the cumulative, easy for you to say, the cumulative effect is quite representational, as you know if you've seen my finished paintings. But I hope they still have the exciting energy of the abstract process, the abstract layers. I now realize that I raised this edge up quite a bit. Ooh, yeah. Now the question is, do I fix it? Rats. The answer is, yes, I do. I mean, I haven't invested much time, thank goodness. I haven't invested much time in it. But it's going to entail a fair little bit of redrawing things here, including the very position of the conductor, so he's going to get wiped out. Sorry, Mr. Conductor, bye. Yeah, that's more like it. When I was doing this dark area down here, all of a sudden I noticed that it was too big. Let's go back to some pencils. And And again, it's unlikely that any of the lines that I'm drawing right now are accurate. And accuracy is not my primary concern. Interesting marks is way more important to me at this point than accurate marks. Accurate's okay, but interesting is vital. And again, I don't know if any of these marks will even be visible in the final painting, but guess what? They might be, so therefore it behooves me to make them pleasant marks, interesting marks. That's the reason for all the wiggles and squiggles and jiggles that you're seeing me do. Those are certainly not accurate, and we don't care. One of the other things I'm noticing, oh yes, a very interesting element in the photograph is all the spindle, the legs of the chairs and the legs of the music stands. There's a whole bunch of, I don't know what you call it, but of just this liney stuff. So that will be another element that I'll be repeating over and over and over again. All right, believe it or not, I think I'm going to quit right there. And you guys leave some comments if you want to, either you're watching, those of you who are watching later. And here's my face. Oh, hey, just for fun, you know what? I used to paint down here all the time when I was doing Dan's Daily Art Adventure. But this is my downstairs studio. There's our dining room. My wife is very generous. I possess the living room of our house. There's some music, French horn, harmonicas, trumpet, cello, drums, guitar. There's our entryway there. Just for some of you might get a kick out of knowing where we live. We actually do live in this house. Anyway, I'm just glad to get this started today, and I'll be able to sleep a little more peacefully knowing at least it started. And several things have hit me in your presence while we've been talking. The process, dark light, each layer more detailed. The elements, the white pieces of paper, the spindly legs, the dark masses of the clothing, and the light sparkle of the floor. Also this drawing up here, that perspective is off. No big deal. Yeah, nice man cave right in the living room. Can you believe it? But as you can see too, let me, just my studio is furnished with lovely antique furniture and even a lovely, what looks like an antique easel, even though it's not. Yeah, so it's my responsibility, since this is the first room people see when they walk into our house. It's my responsibility not to make that a pleasant experience, and it always is. All right, thanks for watching. Thanks, Ross, and hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.